Hi, so welcome to today's video lesson, and in today's video lesson we're looking at the sum of infinite. So sum to infinity rather. So it's sum to infinity, not sum of infinity, sum to infinity. That means if you sum up the terms up to infinity, what are you going to get? So that's the question. All right, so let's look at it from the last episode that we had. We said that Sn is actually equal to A into 1 minus Rn divided by 1 minus R. And what is the condition for this this type of formula? Can you remember? Exactly. So that's R must be less than 1. So that's the condition for using this formula. So when R is less than 1, R squared, that means less than 1 means that it is 0 point something, then up to minus. Okay. So that means if it's less than 1, let's say half 1 over 2. Half squared, is it less than 1? Yes, because half squared is 1 over 4. What about half cubed? Is it less than 1? That's 1 over 8. Of course, it's less than 1. So that means it will continue to become less than 1. All right, good. Then let's say that you're saying that so that means we're saying that Rn is definitely gonna be less than 1. Definitely gonna be less than 1. And if that's the case, as n becomes large, R over n tends towards 0. How do I know? How exactly do I know? So that means as n tends towards infinity, R raised above n tends towards 0. Okay, it's just true. If you have 1 over 2, then square it, you have 1 over 4, cube it, you have 1 over 8, cube it, 4 raised to power 4, you have 1 over 16, and the value becomes to reduce. So it tends to reduce to 0. That's what it tends to reduce to 0. And if that's the case, that means that Sn will then be A into 1 minus 0, because this will tend towards 0. Okay, 1 minus 0. Sorry, infinity. Let me write that properly. Infinity. S tends towards infinity. When n is infinity, A into 1 minus R raised to the power of infinity. Then that's 1 minus R. Okay, good. And so S, sum of infinity is actually A raised to the power 1 minus R raised to the power infinity tends towards 0. 0 over 1 minus R. And so that becomes S infinity. Let me write that again. S infinity equals to A, that's 1. 1 times A is A, over 1 minus R. And so this is the equation or the formula for sum to infinity. Okay, good. Sum to infinity. Okay, so let's use this formula to actually solve an example. Okay, because this is the last episode for this sequence and series. So let's pick an example. Let's say if you have 4, 1, 1 over 4. And so on. So how do you find the sum to infinity of this kind of series? How do you find it? Okay. What's your R? Your R therefore has to be 1 over 4. 1 divided by 4. Because the ratio. GP. So what's your A? your A equals what? 4. So sum to infinity formula is actually equals to A over 1 minus R. And so sum to infinity for this series is actually 4 over 1 minus 1 over 4. And so what's that? That gives us sum of infinity equals to 4 over 3 over 4. And that gives us 4 multiplied by 4 over 3, and that gives us 16 over 3, and that gives us 5 number 1 over 3. So this is the sum to infinity, 5 number 1 over 3. So let's take another example, and that's going to be the last example for this series. Okay, the sum to infinity, s infinity, let's say that equals to 18. And let's say the first term a is equals to 1 over 3. So find the common ratio. How do you do this? So using that same formula, sum to infinity equals to a over 1 minus r, using the same formula. So you have 18 equals 1 over 3 over 1 minus r. So cross multiply, what do you have? You have 18, 1 minus r, you're cross multiplying. So you're having equals to 1 over 3. Good. And so what do you have? You have divide both sides by 18. So you have 1 minus r equals 1 over 3 multiplied by 1 over 18. By now, I don't think I should have to teach you how to do this. I don't need to teach you how I turn this into this. Anyways, let me just do that because because you might not know it. 1 over 3 multiplied by divided by 18, and so we can transform this divide to multiplication by saying that 1 over 3 multiplied by, so you reverse that, take the inverse of 18, that's 1 over 8. So that's how we got this here. Okay, good. So we have 1 minus r equals to 1 over 18 times 3 times 18. That's 53. Yes, 53. Oops, sorry, that's 54. 54 rather. That's 54. Okay, so then I would say that 1 minus 1 over 54 is actually equals to r. And that tells you that r becomes okay, let me just do that because of you might not know how to do that. 54, that's 54 minus 1. Okay, that's 53 over 54. So your r is actually 53 over 54. That's your common ratio. So that's how to find the common ratio for this kind of given problem. All right, so this brings us to the end of this episode as well as all of sequence and series. All right, so you can do well to share this video with friends that you think might be in need of it, and as well comment on the comment section by just saying thank you and click on the like button so that it can stimulate the YouTube algorithm to share this video to other people. All right, thank you. Bye.